Hello, this is Tom Goodwin, and this is my partner, Michelle Ronquillo.
Yeah,
Okay, I just
that is
wanted,
us.
and we are from Positive Vibes Enterprise, and we are going. The subject today is going to be new beginnings, and it's very apropos because this has happened to be New Year's Eve, and a lot of people think about new beginnings at this time of the year. But one of the things you have to remember is it is best to start change the moment that one thinks that change is important to you.
Right there in the moment, the momentum begins. Change begins with change in perception. And once you change your perception, you can start changing.
And I, being a spiritual pioneer, I am impatient. So I'm always trying to change and change as fast as I can. So I have this certain immediacy to the way I approach it. That if I think of something, I'm going to start integrating it immediately into doing things because I don't want to be delayed in my journey to make things happen. Um, and one of the things about change is that there's a dog barking in the background, but that didn't last forever. I guess somebody has arrived for the New Year's celebration or whatever, and that change happens in that
See,
way too.
change.
The change just happened, and while we're doing this,
Spontaneous change happened in the changing new beginnings of our video
but
recording.
one of the things is when it comes to change, um, what I find spiritually is it's hard to change if your spiritual programming doesn't allow you to deal with the struggle involved in the change. You have to have, if you have a spiritual program that has sort of like too much fantasy in it or escapism in it or feeling that the world should be really rosy or something, it's hard to change. It's challenging to change, and you have to have the attitude that gives you the strength to make the changes.
Well, one thing is definite that change, the reason why it's so hard is because everybody has a routine. We all get into different routines. Sometimes people get into routines that become a creature of habit type of routine, that it blocks that change from happening, and then it becomes really hard to make those changes. So as we learn our routines and we put new things in our routines, we're able to look at the awarenesses of what we want to change and how to place in the new habits in those routines that will help us motivate us to keep us going.
And the thing with routine is so like I've always had a routine, you could say, but my routine has always been a routine that is constantly working in the direction of changing. So I'm always adding to my routine, trying to improve my routine. And when I'm talking about spiritual program, I try to change my mindset so that it doesn't interfere with me dealing with um, a more difficult routine when it comes to meditation. Because if what happens is you have to be quiet, you have to be able to. It takes quietness to be able to meditate more deeply. You have to have when you put all your focus into something, you're gonna get quiet. That's what's gonna happen. But you can't put all your focus into something if your mind is working against you. And it will work against you if you're doing something that's more difficult than your mindset feels you should be dealing with.
Making unrealistic goals, um, jumping too far ahead in your changes.
The thing is that what happens is that you if you your mind has to be strong enough because it has to be able to handle the fact that change is difficult, and it can be extremely difficult, can be extremely hard. And if you're on drugs or something, you're used to not having the mindset to really face reality, the hard truth. And a lot of times actually changing your habits has to do with overcoming bad habits which are addictive to a certain degree. Meaning, if you're eating diet's not that good, a lot of it has to do with you crave foods that aren't healthy for you, which is sort of addictive to a degree.
And
Not
it goes into also comfort zones. You get addicted, like Tom said, of those habits, but they really comfort you. They secure you, a security blanket that you can go back to. But when you're in the middle of change, you're naked spiritually in new routines and new ways of looking and thinking and perceiving. So those comfort blankets and those security things are gone.
and of course we need a certain amount of comfort. We can't change so quickly that we lose all our comfort. So we have to
Exactly.
gradually adjust. And as we get stronger, we will be comfortable um, with under harsher conditions, under rougher conditions. It's when you think about the person that's in training for, let's say, climbing a mountain or doing something like that. At the beginning, they may try small hills or gradually work it up. And as they work it up, their comfort zone will change, and they will eventually get a comfort zone, which to most people would seem that's incredible. That's comfortable for you, but that's what happens with change. And it's a gradual thing. It's subtle. If you have the attitude, oh, I'm going to change right now, and it's going to happen in a few days. That's not how it works. You have to think in terms of
Exactly.
years and gradual change. And when you do the change, you have to think in terms of um, that I'm moving in the right direction. Not I want to have this body or whatever. That what you have to think of is every day I'm getting a little healthier. I'm getting these. In other words, the positive movement is what counts.
Exactly.
It's not where you're going that counts. It's the fact you're heading in a good direction. Because as long as you're heading in a good direction, actually the spiritual forces around you will work with you. You could say
Exactly.
God will work with you. God or reality, which is what God represents, reality, will work with you.
It's the
If
step after step that is hard, not the whole of the journey.
Because it's the striving and the trying that makes things happen for you spiritually. I feel like that as long as you're trying and you keep putting forth a concerted effort, you will. The reality will sort of like conspire to work with you if you're on the right effort level, if you're focusing. So that's why change is so good, is because it puts you in the groove that will make positive things happen in other areas of your life. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to get out of the groove myself. Being a spiritual pioneer, that would be my biggest fear, would be not doing the change, not moving in a positive direction.
And the motivation to change for others never works. It always has to start from within. Those motivations of change, you need to do it for yourself, your spiritual growth of self. And when you get that perception that you're changing for self instead of somebody else or anything that is the outside energy forces, it doesn't work. But once you take a look at inside yourself and motivate yourself to really want that change to happen, you can become the everyday habits of that change.
And there will be setbacks. Things will not happen perfectly. If you're on some type of diet, it may be too much for you, and you may have a setback. But you don't let that stop you. You say, "This
Yes.
is only a setback. The next day, I'm going to be back, and I'm going to continue." And you will have setbacks, but you don't let the setbacks stop you from continuing. You may need rest. And it's all right to rest. Rest makes you stronger. If you get sore or something is too much for you, it's all right to take a rest day. And then the next day you go back, and the rest day should help you to even do it real well in a renewed effort to start over the next day with new vigor and new motivation. So
Yes.
setbacks are part of it. You don't automatically say I failed and give up. Giving up is not a thing to do.
And also, do not beat yourself up over mistakes. You look into the forward, you look into the moment, you look at it, you tried, and you're going to try better next time, and you're going to succeed going forward. That's healthy.
We all make mistakes. And especially somebody like me, a spiritual pioneer, I had to cover all the mistakes to figure out what was right and what was wrong. So mistakes, that's how you learn. You can't be good at anything if you can't handle the fact that you're going to make mistakes and you're going to have to learn from them. That's how you get better, is by making mistakes.
That's where success lies, is in learning the failure side. And then you get the perception and the strengths to succeed.
Because that's when people think they're perfect, or they get caught up in the perfection idea. That's when they stop, because they're not striving or trying harder. I'm a perfectionist, but I never really expect to reach perfection. I just am striving to keep getting better and better, and that's what a perfectionist does. They strive to get better, but you don't think you're ever going to reach it, because it's an unrealistic expectation to ever reach perfection. It just doesn't exist in this world, and that's why the world is perfect, because it doesn't have perfection. So it always allows for people to have more room to grow and more territory to explore and more adventure. You don't want things to get to a point where you've reached it and you can't go any further. That would be like a wall you couldn't pass. That would be a negative as far as I see it.
Yes. And it's important to know that letting go of that ego and pride means that you can stand there in the weakness of your spiritual sense and say, I can change, I can do it, I can make something better of myself and future. And I will not stand here and beat myself up, because the healthy thing is the competition with self, not others. Like Tom says, he strives to make it better each time that he does that, because he's in healthy competition with himself, bettering himself, evolving himself, perfecting himself. And that gives you motivation and pride in the fact that you are doing that footwork.
I do have a side of me, though, that does want to bring something better to the world. So you could say I'm in the competition in that direction. But I want everybody to be in competition with me in that, because that's what we need in this world. Everybody competing to make this world a better place. Just think of the results you'll get from that.
With healthy criticism of understanding like-mindedness, we all support, and we all also have a drive to succeed in whatever surviving modes that we have.
And it is scary. Change can be really scary, and I have dealt with scariness all my life, and I guess you could say I have a comfort zone for a lot of scariness. But
Yes, the unknown is very scary. Definitely.
but it is good to be able to do things that are scary. And the reason why a lot of people aren't able to achieve things in this world is they get scared off. They're not willing to deal with the fact that it is very difficult to do, and it's very difficult spiritually to do. And it may scare you a lot, but you just keep going. You
Kind
don't
of
let.
like when you get on a roller coaster, you don't let it stop you. Like Tom says, you get on that roller coaster and it gives you that adrenaline rush. It might be a little scary, but you're going to survive it.
So I wish everybody many, many new beginnings and a lot of progress in improving their habits. Not just for a new year, but
Yes.
but for every day, new day. I think if you deal with it on a daily basis, you just start every new day with that type of approach. It would be better than for every new year.
Exactly. Every new day is a new beginning.